Hey guys, Mark Beauclair here, and today I have the pleasure of taking you through Psalm chapter 119, verse 57 through 64. It's only 7 verses, but it's packed with a whole lot of information that we can think on and also that we can apply to our lives. So without further ado, let's go ahead and let's get started. Verse 57 and 58. You are my portion, O Lord. I have said that I would keep your words. I entreated your favor with my whole heart. Be merciful to me according to your word. So when it talks about portion, this is talking about his share or his inheritance. Another group that we saw in the Bible that talks about God being their portion was the Levites. They didn't actually have a land inheritance or a share when they went to the promised land. All of the other tribes did. So God was their inheritance, and he was their source of sustenance, and they depended on God alone. So this is what the psalmist is talking about. This is what gives him satisfaction. When he says, I entreated your favor with my whole heart, he's talking about urgency. He's talking about the things that he needs because he knows that he's a fallible man. He knows that he's going to make mistakes, but he also knows that God is merciful through his word. And the way that we can take that is we need to know God's word as well so that we can grab his promises. Verse 59 through 60 talks about, I thought about my ways and turned my feet to your testimonies. I made haste and did not delay to keep your commandments. When he talks about thought about my ways, he's doing a self-examination upon himself, and he's looking at what God said and also what the other way. So he's looking at two different paths, the good and also the bad, and the results that come from that. And it makes him choose God's way because he knows that God's way is the right way, and he chooses to do things God's way. The next thing that it says is, I made haste. I did not delay. And when he says I didn't delay, that means he didn't procrastinate. He didn't wait. When he knew what God said was right, he went ahead and he pivoted. He turned his life. And it's important for us to evaluate our ways and our actions according to what God says in his word. And if ours doesn't line up with what God says, we need to pivot and we need to change our life as well. The next thing that it says is, the cords of the wicked have bound me, but I have not forgotten your law. At midnight, I will rise to give thanks to you because of your righteous judgments. So we see here that the psalmist was going through adversity. He had somebody attacking him, but it says that he didn't forget, he hasn't forgotten the law. So he's saying, no, regardless of whatever I go through, I'm going to always go back to your word. And when he says another thing, he says at midnight, I will rise. So when it talks about that, he's forsaken his sleep. He's given up his sleep because he wants to pursue God. And for us, I have a question that we need to ask ourselves. Are we willing to get up earlier to pursue God, to study his word? I get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, every morning, because I want to study God's word. I want to pray. I want to give him that time that he's due, that he's deserved. He's my God. And he's so important that I need to. And I want to say we make time for whatever that we deem important, whether it's a job, whether it's a relationship, whether it's a hobby. So God surely is worth our time. The next thing that it says is verse 63 through 64. I am a companion of all who fear you, and of those who keep your precepts. The earth, O Lord, is full of your mercy. Teach me your statutes. So when it talks about a companion, this is saying, he's telling us, hey, I'm picking and choosing the people who I need to be around me, because the people that you are around you, they influence you. You are the sum of your friends. So he wanted to be around people who honored God, who live for God, and who love God, and also who had him to, who helped him and encouraged him to follow God's way. So I encourage you guys as well, all of us, to pick people who obey God's word and also that encourage you to obey God's word. And lastly, he finishes out, the earth, O Lord, is full of your mercy. Teach me your statutes. So we don't have to go far to understand God's goodness. We see it all around. You can learn a lesson from all of creation, as the word says, and you'll see of God's goodness. But when we see God's goodness also, when we see, hey, these are the things, when I'm following his word, I might not have everything, to be just good. I mean, you'll go through different circumstances and stuff like that, but also you understand God's mercy. You understand that he's a gracious God, and that should make you want to study his word more and to know more of him, so that you can continue to not only just receive his mercy, but to know more about him in doing things the right way. So I encourage all of you guys to stay in God's word and try to understand his word, whether you got to get up early or whether you got to stay up late, because God is worth it. And I hope that this not only challenge you, but also I hope that it bless you today as it did me. All right. See you guys.